once I start talking. I'll pass it to my friends at QuoteWizard, just maybe do a brief introduction, but I'll kind of do a brief introduction to them. I have been blessed and fortunate to work with QuoteWizard, God, for over 10 years. For over 10 years, we used them at the agency that I managed in Alabama for many, many years and wrote a ton of items. I'm talking hundreds of items a year from their internet leads, from their live transfers and all that stuff. I was also blessed to have them as partners with a consulting firm that I worked with prior. For many years, they were awesome. I was able to refer agencies that I was helping to them, and they always took such great care of them. So I just want to thank them for all that they have done to help me and the agencies that I've managed over the years, plus the countless agencies I've referred to them. I highly recommend that if you're not involved with QuoteWizard, that you consider talking with them about all of the package offerings that they have, from the data leads to the life transfers and other things that they can do to help you drive more new business and opportunities to your staff. So that's my quick little intro to them. What y'all want to talk about to get us started?
Well, we are really excited to have Joseph Puckett today from Joseph Puckett Consulting. He started a scratch agency in 2009 and managed a 10 million agency in Alabama to help grow to 40 million in 10 years. He has coached and trained insurance agents, owners, sales managers, producers, and service team members for the past 10 years to help them write and retain more business and close more deals regardless of price. So he's going to teach us and talk about paths and processes. And we have really, really lucky that he's going to share some of the scripts with us and talk about how your team can bundle every new customer, cross-sell existing customers, and close more deals. So Joseph, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. And again, thank you to QuoteWizard for everything. And thank y'all for investing your time. I know your time is so valuable. Agency owners out there, managers, team members. If we've got some team members on here, I'm excited that you're able to take this hour to invest in yourself. I know we got a lot going on every day at the agency, don't we all? We have so many things that we have to accomplish. We've got huge sales goals. Good Lord, it's going to be a good year, obviously, right? Because our goals have gone up big time. That must mean our companies say, you got this, you can make this happen. But we're going to definitely need to make sure that we're training our team correctly, training ourselves correctly, funneling the best leads to the agency, but also working free leads, y'all. You have to consider internet leads and live transfers, direct mail. Y'all, you've got to invest in leads and marketing. But what are we doing also to work the free leads that we have? Requotes, win backs, outbound cross sells from policy reviews, transitioning from inbound customer service calls to pivot to talking about additional lines. How many referrals did your team write last month? From customers that they asked referrals from, not just that they gave because you're amazing, but because we asked. How many referrals did we close last month from referral partners, mortgage lenders, apartment complexes, niches like boat dealerships or motorcycle dealerships, stuff like that? We have huge, huge, huge production goals to hit. And I know it might seem daunting. I know it might seem daunting to hit these new, bigger production goals and growth goals. Y'all, we have a ton of time to make it happen. For example, this month, the month of April, 22 business days, 22 business days. That's 10% more time than we had in the month of March. Isn't that amazing? And I believe we have 21 or 22 in May. Most months are between 20 and 21, but in a month like this where we have 22 business days, we have got to capitalize. But all throughout the day, you're worried or focused on your big production goals. You've got all the stuff that's coming in, the problems, right? You might have a problem with a customer that you're having to help solve, and maybe that pulls you off of production mode or training mode or something like that. Claims can definitely be a challenge and maybe get into our way. Customer service, not to say that that's the thing that gets in our way, but customers that are needing more attention and that's taking us away from production, all these things that take us away from production. Training like this, I hope you don't see as taking away. I hope you see see it as investing in yourself. Your time is your most valuable asset. You can either invest it or waste it. I hope this next 45 minutes or so is a great investment. All right, so thank you so much for being here. In the chats, I want to try to make this as interactive as possible. And yes, here in just a bit, if y'all want to talk, if you want to come online and say, hey, JP, I want to talk with you about this challenge that I'm having around bundling or closing, getting it all in one call or just getting my team to do XYZ when it comes to closing or overcome objections. I'd love for y'all to be able to talk to me. So as they said, you can just raise your hand if you want to unmute and talk, and we can do that. But right now in the chat, I want you to tell me, how would you rate your team on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being, ooh, JP, we got lots of work to do. How would you rate your team on bundling at new business? Bundling at new business. 1, we don't do it very well. 10, shoot, JP, we bundle 98.9% of the time. I'm just curious. Amber says it's just me. 10 out of 10, girl. I like it. I like it. So she's the 10 out of 10. So we got Lori with 3, Kenny 9, Kurt 7. We got some 8.3s. That's an interesting choice. Amy with a decimal. Lanit 5, 9.5, 5. All right. 87.92% says David. That's a very specific number and must be his actual bundling number. So we have a lot of 8s and 9s. We have a fair amount of 5s and 6s. Let me ask y'all now to stop chatting that, because that's a lot of chats, y'all. Now chat why you think your team is not bundling as well as they should. All right. So I just want to hear, and you don't have to write a book because I want to see several chats here. Why is your team, or why are your team members? Why is your team, or are your team members not bundling? They scared, says Kenny. Jessica, my friend in Tennessee, lack of knowledge. Brian, they're apprehensive to ask. Haley, need to work on objection handling. Amber, this is what I was waiting for. The auto's not as competitive as the property. That's fair, right? That's fair. So if you have higher rates on one line versus other lines, you're guys, you're always going to be more competitive on one or the other. It'll be rare that you're super competitive on auto and property. So I feel you. I feel you. I'm glad that you shared that. Price challenges, pricing, rates. Okay, now we're getting to the real stuff. Kenny says they're scared of the no. I feel you. Heather, they're not asking all questions. They're not uncovering things. We're going to talk about that today as I go through the JPC, Joseph Puckett Consulting sales roadmap to drive new business, my scripts and sales process. All right, Robert, I like this. Robert says not training and doing enough role play. See, that's Robert looking in the mirror and saying, I need to be doing better to enhance my team's ability to bundle at new business. So dude, thank you. Thank you for admitting that, right? What could you do better to coach and role play and hold your team accountable? So all these are really, really good answers, really, really good answers, and the same answers that I would have expected if I asked this to anybody. What we have to do, y'all, is completely change how we view our role. So now what I want to see in the chat, brief description. How do you view the role of yourself if you're a team member, right? If you're a producer or a service team member, or as a manager or owner, how would you define the role of the producers or service team members in the agency in just a few words? What is it that we do for our customers? What is it that we do for our customers? I'm curious what you guys will say. All right, Jonathan, we protect the most important assets to you and your family, whether that be money, home, auto, life, we protect it all. I like that. Scott says retention. Boy, I feel you. I know our retention goals went up too, didn't they? Like big time. Like, oh my Lord. Like all these higher goals. This is exciting. Isn't this exciting? Because that means we're going to grow a heck of a lot more this year with these huge goals. Amy, we educate. Jamie, put them in my shoes. Ooh. I like that. So I want to protect them like I protect myself, I guess is what you're saying there. Stephen, we manage risk. Monica, we give them peace of mind. Lori, we educate the customer. Steve, we are consultative professionals. I'm not going to say the word advisors and get my hands like, you can't say advisor. Okay, I'm sorry, compliance people. So you're a consultative professional. I'll say that instead of an advisor. Protect and educate. Jim Marie, I love that. So y'all, these are all amazing answers. The question is, do you actually believe that? Do you believe that? Does your team believe that? Does your team believe that what I say, if I were to define our role when I'm interviewing a team member to work on my team or one of the agencies that I'm working with, or I'm coaching an existing team, whether they're the team that I manage or am working with another agency all across the country, because I also do that all throughout the day, I would define your role, team member, is to put yourself in position to help your customers when they need you, right? Put yourself in position to help your customers when they need you. See, we cannot go back in time. We can't hop into our DeLorean, gun it to 88, and go back in time. That's a Back to the Future reference, y'all. And if you don't even know what that is, and you were born after 2000, why are you here? Why aren't you in middle school or something? But if we hopped into our DeLorean, gunned it to 88, go back in time, I can't go back in time and fix a policy that was written wrong. I can't go back in time and write a policy that I never wrote. We have got to protect our customers today. And I want to give you all this example. If I could share my Chrome browser real quick. Let me move the chats over here and the videos over here. So I was working with a team in Illinois the other day, and I was grateful to have the chance to work with them. Their agent invests in the ability for me to work with them once every week. And they said, Joseph, we need good stories, right? Because it's something I say all the time, and it's in the liability top path here in the JPC scripts, which we're going to go through a bunch, right? We're going to kind of fly through a lot of the JPC sales process, which will help y'all with bundling and getting the deal closed, right? Assumptive close. We need more stories. So I went to thegoogle.com. Y'all remember what it was, thefacebook.com? If y'all remember it was thefacebook.com, you don't even have an Instagram, do you? But I go to thegoogle.com and I searched auto accidents in Peoria, Illinois. This was just over a week ago. All right. This video came up. Viewer submitted video, multiple vehicle crash, leaves several injured. This was March 24th. What is that? Just over a week ago. What I kind of want you to imagine, team members watching this live or the recordings, agency managers as you're training and developing your team, same for agency owners. I want y'all to imagine that this guy is your customer you're talking to in 45 minutes when you get off this training. You're going to talk to this guy, but it's the day before this accident. Okay. Imagine as if you knew you're talking to this guy right now, and within the next 24 hours, he's going to cause this accident. You guys, we have to have a sense of urgency to protect our customers. There were multiple vehicles involved. See, there was a little van involved as well. But y'all, there's not even freaking doors on this car. Like, that's how hard this guy in the red truck hit these people, and they slammed into the van. Y'all, imagine if this guy only had $25,000 of coverage. Ladies, gentlemen, zoom in. What is that emblem on this car? It's an L. It's an L. What does that stand for? Lexus. Y'all, if they were just driving around in a 1998 Kia, maybe $25,000 of property damage would be okay. Like if whoever they hit was driving in a 1998 Kia. But a recent Lexus, if they only had $25,000 of property damage, this guy is in big trouble. Shoot, why can't I go back to this guy? This guy is in big trouble. Imagine you talked with him today and this accident happened tomorrow. Y'all, we have got to create a sense of urgency to get our customers protected today. You'll see in the JPC scripts and sales roadmap that all of my members have access to. I'm constantly updating here in this Google Doc. Every word, if I do Command F, because I'm on a Mac, I'm on a real computer, not a PC. Every time the word today is in my script, it's bold and red. Bold and red. The word today is in my scripts and top pass 41 times. Are you going to say the word today 41 times to your customers and prospects? No. But all throughout this script and top path, I made it bold and red every time the word today was there. Why? We cannot leave our customers in position to have an accident like this and not have enough coverage. And y'all have been talking about property damage. What about injuries? Amy said, oh my God, let's chat about their medical bills. Y'all, They knocked the doors off this car. I don't know if they had passengers. I don't know what was going on, but I bet there was some injuries, right? It literally says that in the title, several injured. If they're driving around with $30,000 of bodily injury or something, and we could have fixed that for dollars a month, right? Dollars a month. And it could be tens of dollars a month. Maybe it's $100 more a month. But if you break it down where it's $1, $2, $3, maybe even $4 a day, and we could have given them much more liability protection for property damage, much more liability protection for bodily injury. We could have fixed this for this guy, or we gave him a quote, similar coverages, similar deductibles, and we didn't want to be pushy. Let me stop sharing. This is a challenge that your team members have. They say when it comes to the assumptive close and like the one call close and getting it all in one call, they say, JP, I don't like feeling like I'm pushy. I don't want to be pushy as I'm talking to people. I want to educate them. There's a difference between educating someone and actually advising someone. Not financial advice, but there's a difference between educating someone on here's how coverages work and advising here's what we're going to do, because it's going to protect you. It's going to protect your assets. It's going to protect your income. It's going to protect your home equity. It's going to keep you from having to pay $400 an hour to hire an attorney to represent you in a claim, because your old policy would only cover a much smaller amount than what a normal claim would actually cost. That's what we have to do. This is what we're going to do today. I'm going to fix this today. I'm going to take care of this today. Not, hey, here's similar coverages and deductibles. Here's my price. Are we cheaper? Oh, shoot, we're not cheaper. I figured our rates kind of suck right now. I kind of hate my job right now. I'm just kidding, y'all. Don't you dare think that. But that's what most producers do. They quote similar coverages, quote similar limits, hope and pray to the insurance gods that they're less. There won't be a majority of the time. And they'll say, okay, well, can we try again in 6 months? Y'all, no. No, that is not how we advise our customers. That is not how we consult our customers. Imagine if you went to the doctor. Imagine if you went to the doctor and your doctor was like, so what kind of prescriptions do you want? Honestly, that's probably a cool doctor, y'all, but don't go to that doctor. That's a bad doctor. Drugs are bad, okay? But like your doctor is not going to be like, what kind of prescriptions do you want? Imagine going to your accountant and your accountant saying, so, what do you want to write off this year? I don't know. Like, that's not my job. We often tend to let our customers stay in the driver's seat and kind of dictate what they want because we ask them the wrong questions. We say, what's your current deductible? You got 500, you got 1,000, whatever. Okay, I'll add that. You got anything else? You got roadside, you got rental, you got uninsured. Oh, you do? All right, I'll add that. Your current limits, bodily injury. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. I might recommend a bit more. We'll start there. This is my price. Are we cheaper? That's your competition, y'all. And I hope and pray it's not the actual sales process of the people watching this. But if it is, you need to wake up. You need a wake up call and realize that your job is not just to quote and hope that you're less. Your job is to educate and advise your customers, put together a plan that will meet their needs, and ask for their credit card number at the end. You are not paid to quote, ladies and gentlemen. You're paid to close. All right, you're paid to close. So it all starts in your mind. Do you believe in your mind that you are what everybody said, your role about being an educator, an advisor, a protector to your customers? If you don't believe that, you're going to really struggle trying to value sell, and you're going to really struggle trying to bundle, especially if your auto or property is like kind of way off, but maybe one or the other is like way better, right? In terms of rate, that can help offset the rate of the other. Maybe we're still about the same price. Maybe we're a bit more overall. So what? What does it break down to? Is it $100 a month more on a package, y'all? That's nothing. That's what, like $3 a day, $3 or $4 a day. If you break that down per car and per home, $1 a day, for 2 cars in a home, we're about $1 a day more per car, $1 a day more on the home, but giving them so much more coverage. Y'all, if you don't think that you're worth $3 today, go to another industry. You're not going to be cheaper a lot. I'm just being real. You're not going to be cheaper a lot, y'all. And I hate the word cheap. Never say the word cheap. Thank the Lord there's no real swear jar at my office because y'all, JP loves the Lord, but I'll cuss a little. You know what I'm talking about? The real swearing at the agency is cheap, right? We want to be cheaper. Let's see if we can get you a cheaper rate. Or what do you think? That's a swear. How's that sound? That's a swear. What if your doctor was like, so like, What do you think about my treatment plan? Do you think that's good? Like, did you go to medical school too? Y'all, where did our customers go to insurance school, right? So what do you think? How does that sound? Did I catch you at a good time? Let's see if we can save you some money. I want to save you some money. Those are all swear words. So make sure that you're not asking the wrong questions. Make sure that you're not saying the wrong words. Never put the customer in the driver's seat. You're in the driver's seat. All right, so that's my preaching for the day, y'all. That's the JP preaching. Let's go back to the Google Chrome. And just a quick little note for JPC members that are on the call, I'm excited to let y'all know that tomorrow the JPC platform is finally launching. Right now, you and your team have just been watching the recordings from the Google Drive, but I've got the, I'll call you back. I've got the JPC platform launching where we'll put the newest courses up at the top, all courses down here. Stop calling me. And then, of course, all of the resources, documents, and scripts here or in the site. So I just want to give a quick update. There'll be tracking, reporting, all that kind of stuff for you to see what your team are doing. So my assistant's helping me finalize that for launch tomorrow. Okay, JPC scripts and roadmap. And guys, if you're watching this and you're not a JPC member, cool, that's awesome. Check out my programs, josephdpuckett.com, if you want me to maybe help you and your team. It's $100 a month for live training once or twice a week for the whole team. And I'll offer some individual stuff. But if you're not a member and you want this, shoot me an email. It's email@josephdpuckett.com. And I'll send this to you. I don't care. So what is my sales process? Okay, the JPC sales roadmap. Well, no, let me go back up to this. Roadmap. All right, roadmap. Y'all, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a process, if you don't have a map or a guide to follow, don't be surprised if you don't end up at the destinations that you want, right? If you're just kind of going with the flow of the customer and putting them in the driver's seat and just taking orders from them, you're going to have a real hard time closing, y'all. You're going to have a big time, hard time bundling. You're going to have a big time, hard time bundling because they typically want to focus on one thing. It's either their auto or their property, right? Their cars or their property. And then if you say, well, hey, would you also like me to give you a quote on your cars? Or would you also like me to give you a quote on that apartment or home? No, I really just need to focus on this one thing. It's coming up for renewal in a few weeks. They just raised my rates crazy. Let's fix my home first. Or let's fix my cars first, and then we'll talk. Y'all, don't ever put them in the driver's seat. You're in the driver's seat. And then you need to have a map to follow, a guide to follow. And that's what I have. And I believe that if you follow the sales roadmap, that you'll drive a lot more new business into the agency because you're going to bundle more and you're going to close more a lot quicker. So I just want to kind of flow through some of this stuff. I've got my one-page cheat sheet. And y'all can take screenshots of all this stuff. I don't care. I mean, all this is going to be on the recording, so I don't care. You want a copy of this? Email me. Cool. Like, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this to help agencies. So if you want this, email me. Starting the call strong with high energy and enthusiasm and assume the quote. You're starting from the beginning in the driver's seat, y'all. That will help your team with bundling. They're not going to say, hey, do you want a quote on your cars initially, or do you want a quote on your home still? I know you were looking for some insurance quotes. You still want one? No. Hey, Mr. Customer, I saw that you were looking for some quotes online. I went ahead and took a look at things. We're looking really good. I just need to confirm a few things so I can get all the discounts on here. You're going to love this. So my system said that you've got a 2020 Honda Pilot. Is that right? Any other cars? You assume the quote. And I've got all kinds of scripts and top paths on how to start the call for various leads, and we can skim through some of those. But guys, it all starts with how you start. You've got to be in control, not rude. You're not being rude or anything, but you're in control. I want your customer in the passenger seat and just riding along with you. You're in control. Now we have to be prepared to overcome objections. And I've got some common objections down here on my scripts. I don't have time right now, or I'm not interested, or hey, can you go ahead and just email those quotes to me? Or, I need to talk with my wife, or I need to talk with my spouse or my partner. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I've got all these various types of objections down here. So you have to be prepared for those speed bumps, right? And don't see them as a roadblock. See, a lot of our team members will see overcoming or opening objections. All right, opening objections. Hold on. Overcome opening objections. Boom. I just updated the scripts, y'all. Your team will typically be like, okay, yeah, I figured you didn't want no quotes. Nobody wants no quotes, right? No, don't just take the first no. And the illustration that I use for team members when I'm coaching them, I was like, all right, let me ask you, when you walk into a store and you're going in there to buy some clothes or something like that, and the nice lady walks up to you and she says, hi, can I help you find anything today? What do you say? No, thanks. I'm good. I'm good. It's just a reflex, isn't it? I'm just looking. You're lying. You ain't there to look, y'all. You're literally there to buy. The thing is, people hate to be sold. They love to buy. Over 50% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, y'all. That does not mean that they're broke and homeless and can't afford the proper insurance to protect their income. That just means they like to buy shit. Excuse my French, y'all. Remember, I love the Lord, but I cuss a little. They like to buy stuff. I love that as a salesperson. Heck yeah, baby. I love that people love to buy. What we want to do is not try to sell them. We want to get them to want to buy, but we can't do that until we have a deeper conversation. They're going to throw up an opening objection. No thanks, not interested. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm no longer shopping. You got to be prepared to roll over those speed bumps and not see them as roadblocks. See, a lot of team members will see them as roadblocks. No, be prepared to overcome it and keep on rolling. Then, as we continue on through the sales process, we have got to build rapport. All right. And I've got all these broken out in more detail here. I'm just kind of going through my little cheat sheet. We've got to build rapport to get to know our customers as a person before we know them as a policy. Get to know our customers as a person before we know them as a policy. That's a little trademark, not trademark. I didn't trademark nothing. Y'all can steal it. That's a little phrase that I came up with several years ago when I was at an event training a couple hundred producers in a breakout session, talking about building rapport. And it just came to me. I was like, team members, y'all, we have got to get to know our customers as a person before we know them as a policy. And I was like, ooh, that's good. Somebody write that down so I wouldn't forget. It's so true. How can we make the right coverage recommendations? How can we uncover all lines, right? Uncovering all lines of business, not just what they drive and where they sleep, but information on that will help us with protecting them with more liability on with things like an umbrella, or asking if they have other policies that will be mapping out additional destinations, asking about other policies, maybe by starting with, so how was your weekend? Or you got any plans for this spring or this summer, whatever. You might uncover that they have boats or jet skis or motorcycles or other hobbies or things like that. So we can uncover additional lines and say, ooh, we're going to take care of that today as well. Right? How can we make the right coverage recommendations on liability if I don't even know what somebody does for a living? Like how can I even recommend something? Now, let me ask y'all. I'll give you a scenario, and boy, there's lots of chats. I ain't reading these. I hope there's no questions, y'all. I'll get to questions at the end, y'all. And I see a couple hands raised, so we can unmute some people here in just a minute, and we can talk if you guys want to talk. But in the chat right now, when it comes to your team's rapport building, getting to know your customers, 1 to 10, 10 being, oh my God, JP, they know their cat's middle name at the end. 1, dude, there's no rapport. It's strictly transactional. 1 to 10, 10 being amazing. Rate your team members' ability to build rapport to get to know your customers. Amy, 9 out of 10. All right. Lynette, 10. Lori, 8. All right, we got some 8s, we got some 10s, we got some 9s, we got some 7s. I'd say I'm an 8, 7, 2. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Mary. 6, 7. So pretty good, but can we all get better at this? And this is easy. This is so easy to get your team. Here's a quick tip. Every single quote that your team does for the next few days, the next few weeks, every single quote that they do, I want you to go and say, hey, what do they do for work? What do they do for work? Okay. If they can't answer that question, they didn't build rapport well enough. Okay. That's just a great way to inspect what you expect and to hold your team members accountable. How can we make the right coverage recommendations if we don't recommend? But let me stop there again. Who needs the better coverages more, right? Let's say you're working with a 65-year-old retired man. He and his wife are retired. They're living in their $400,000 paid for house. They've got a couple $100,000 in the bank. They're not millionaires, but they've got a nice home that they own free and clear. They got some money. Maybe they got a pension and some 401k money coming in or whatever. They got the Social Security. They ain't broke, right? They've got money. Or maybe a 27-year-old single mom, who's working as the head teller at the bank, making 46,000 a year plus benefits, and she's got a little girl. She's got a little girl that she's taking care of. Who needs the most coverage more? Like if you had to pick one or the other, who needs the higher limits in the event that they caused a $100,000 accident, but each of them only had 50,000 of coverage? Who needs it more? The older, wealthier man or the young woman? All right, smooth answer. And Antoine says both. Single mom, mama bear, single mom. Yes. Lori says retiree. Of course, he needs it too, or she needs it too. Their family, the retired families needs it too. But who needs it more if you had to pick? It's that 27-year-old single mom. You know, your customers that have some money, have got some equity in their house, they could take a loan against their house and cover a $50,000 claim. Would they want to? No. Would they be pissed? Yep. Would they want to fire their agent? Heck yeah. But it wouldn't be the end of their world. But that 27-year-old single mama who's now out of money, right? She didn't have a lot of money to begin with, and now she's having to hire an attorney to help her with a claim at $400 an hour, right? She might have had dreams to buy a house. She might have had dreams to start or have a bigger family at some point, to have a spouse or a partner, maybe have additional children that they have or adopt or whatever. She might have had all these dreams, and it's gone because somebody was so freaking lazy they didn't take 3 minutes to explain how better coverages would protect her. And honestly, it's pissing me off now to think about it. Like, why are people so lazy to not spend 3 minutes explaining how coverages can protect somebody? They say, well, they're young, they don't make a lot of money, they rent. Y'all, we're not trying to protect them right this second. We're trying to protect their whole future. Their whole future, y'all. And how can we do that if we don't know anything about them? So, man, I just went on a tangent on building rapport, but it's that important. It's that important to get to know our customers so we can find all of the lines that they have. We can assume the quote of all those lines. We can make the right coverage recommendations, package it all up together. And then when we're leading with coverage, we can explain how we're going to protect their home equity, their income, or their future income and future home equity and all that kind of stuff. It all starts in the first 3 minutes of the call. All right. Here's a good line that I want your team members to start saying when it comes to bundling. I want you to have the MSRP conversation. MSRP, not manufacturer's suggested retail price. No, the JP MSRP is we're going to maximize your savings and review your protection. Maximize savings while reviewing your protection. The best way to save, you're going to love this, is we're going to look at this as a package deal. This is amazing. Now, you might be with an independent and say, JP, we write policies with different companies. You might be in Florida or Louisiana or New York or New Jersey or California and say, well, JP, I can't really write home and auto together with the same carrier. Sometimes there might not be a multiple policy discount. Fine. You still want to look at it as a whole package and talk about how you're going to maximize savings while reviewing their protection and put them in the best overall plan to meet their needs. That's this paragraph here, the maximize savings and review your protection. My goal, this is something your team should start saying today. Take a screenshot of this right now. If you remember, you've got it. It's on page 6. All right. Your team members should start saying this every quote. My goal today, Mrs. Customer, Mr. Customer, is to maximize your savings on your insurance and ensure you have the best protection so your policies actually cover you in a claim. I know that's really important. See, what we're going to do is I'm going to focus on saving you thousands of dollars when you actually need your insurance. Like you want your insurance to actually pay for claims, right? That's what we're going to do. But I'm going to pile on the discounts. I'm going to give you every single discount to maximize your savings. It's really important that your policies protect you and that you get the best rate at the best value. You're going to love this. I'm so glad I'm going to take care of this with you today. Y'all, this is like 3 minutes into the call, 4 minutes into the call. You've gotten some basic info. You've started to build rapport, gather some information before you start diving into the other lines and doing the actual quotes. Maximize your savings and review your protection to make sure that you have the best coverages that actually cover you in the event of a claim at the lowest rate possible. That's my goal, is to save you thousands of dollars. You're going to love this, Mrs. Customer. I got you. We're going to take care of this today. See how I basically said the same thing, but in different words? I don't want your team members to read JPC scripts, y'all. Put them in their own words. All right, put them in their own words, but let's get the point across. This is something that will definitely help with bundling. Instead of just going through the one pager now that I'm talking about bundling, Ask about other lines to map out additional destinations. I know it's corny, y'all. Cars, maps, roadblocks, speed bumps, potholes. I know that's corny, but whatever. Ask. Ask about other lines to map out additional destinations. How often how often are we missing opportunities? I would ask y'all, how many cars did y'all quote last month? How many properties did you quote last month? And then look at your quote log if you're tracking one with a tracking system or you're just carrier system, whatever. How many boats did y'all quote last month? It's springtime, y'all. People dusting off those boats. How many motorcycles did y'all quote? How many ATVs or golf carts did you quote? How many umbrellas did you quote? I sure as heck hope it's at least 30 to 40% of the number of homes that you quoted. At least. All right. How many other lines did you quote? Landlord policies, rental properties, whatever you call them at your carrier. Guys, we cannot just take orders. That's what a lot of producers do. Customer wants a home quote. Okay, I can do that. Here's your home price. You want me to bundle that with your cars too? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're okay with me doing that? Oh my Lord, I would crawl under my table and never come up if my team member ever said that. But yeah, you want me to quote your cars too? Okay, I'll do it. Here's the price on that. You want it? But we're not even asking, do you have anything else? Do you have anything else? So this is another line or a couple lines that your team members should start saying today. So Mr. and Mrs. Customer, we're going to take care of your auto insurance, your home or renters or condo insurance today. We're already looking good, by the way. We're looking good. Y'all say that kind of stuff early on in the call. We're looking good. We're looking great. And I'm almost done. Why? We're trying to keep them on the hook. We're trying to keep them on the hook. And aren't we looking great? Yes, because you know that you are going to give them much better advice, much better packages and policies to actually protect them. We are looking great because we know we are superior to their old policy, right? But I want to make sure that I do everything I can to help you today and make sure I'm not missing any other discounts. See, I'm cool with y'all talking about discounts. That's fine. Leverage your discounts. Tell them that you want to get the rate as low as possible for every penny of coverage they deserve. So I want to make sure I'm not missing any discounts, Mrs. Customer. You got anything else? You got anything else like maybe other properties? I don't know, secondary homes, investment properties, or maybe, toys like motorcycles, boats, ATVs, just any other policies like that. You have any other keys in your key ring? All right, lots of ways to ask. Just ask. Just ask. I promise you, y'all are missing opportunities. You're missing opportunities because our team members are more order taking and not asking a little bit. Y'all go to the McDonald's. Y'all got the McDonald's in your area or the Lord's Chicken. That's my favorite restaurant. No, Taco Bell's my favorite. Second favorite, it's the Lord's Chicken, Chick-fil-A. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And you go and say thank you. I say thank you as many times as I can because they say my pleasure every time. They have to say my pleasure. All right. Y'all go to any fast food restaurant and order a sandwich. What are they going to ask you? Hey, you want fries with that? Hey, what size Coke? What size drink? Y'all, if a fast food restaurant employee can cross sell, can we? Yes, we must ask. So, y'all, these two lines, just take a screenshot of this right now. Maximize your savings and map out additional destinations. Boom. And then, of course, assuming the quote. Like, we're not going to ask if they want quotes. We're going to assume the quote, which I already talked about earlier. This will help your team start to uncover additional lines right now. Okay, they'll start to uncover additional lines right now. And you tell them that we're going to take care of this today. Again, every word on my scripts, the word today is bold and red for a reason. All right. So this is bundling just to uncover it. But then we have to actually assume the quotes, right? We have to assume the quotes and go straight into it. Don't ask if they want a bundle or whatever. Just tell them we're going to take a look at everything, go right through it, save the rates until the end. This is really, really, really important. Don't quote one line of business, then give them a rate and say, is that good? Insurance gods, am I good? Can I keep going? Nope. Quote the auto, quote the property, quote the umbrella if they're likely to qualify. Quote the other lines that you uncovered when you asked if they have any other policies, right? Quote it all, but don't quote a rate, right? Quote it all by discussing the coverages, deductibles, package options, discounts, optional features, right? Go through the whole process, but save the rates until the end. That's very, very, very important. Save the rates until the end. So assuming the quote, I do not have time to talk about this, but if you've ever fogged a mirror or heard the name Joseph Puckett, liability is kind of a big deal. You can take a screenshot of this if you're not a member. It's fine. This is my liability top path, and this is like where we tell the story. And that's why I'm starting to just show this to every agency that I'm coaching, because I mean, this literally just happened last week, right? But liability is the most important coverage, but we're not talking about that today. But take a screenshot. This script and top path will help y'all. Other coverages. How do we explain other coverages and deductibles? We need to do it in an educational way, in an informative way, not just asking what deductible do you have? Okay, I'll match that. No, we want to give a brief example on how the deductible works, make a recommendation on what you would choose for yourself or what most of your customers would choose, and ask what option they want to go with, right? Would you want to go with $1,000 for collision? That'll save you a fair amount of money. Or would you want to pay a little less out of pocket if you were to hit a pole at the grocery store or another car, then we pay the rest to fix or replace your car. My recommendation is $1,000. Would you want to go with that? Whatever they choose. Oh, that's great. That's a perfect choice. That's a great choice. I love that for you. We're customizing the policy to meet their needs, not, hey, what's your deductible? 500? All right, I'll do it. Hey, you got the comp? You got the comp on there? What you got? What's it? Okay, I'll do that. No. Brief example. Give a recommendation. Go with whatever they want to go with. Oh, perfect. That's a great choice, right? So we're going through all of this stuff. Umbrella is my favorite policy next to life insurance. Life insurance is my favorite policy. Umbrella is a very close second. If they're likely to qualify, I don't want your team members quoting 100 homes this month and quoting 100 umbrellas, right? Or quoting 150 car policies and quoting 150 umbrellas. Y'all, look at their driving record. Look at their driving record and claims first. If you got a scroll, they ain't getting no umbrella, right? If they have lots of tickets or accidents or major violations or whatever, you need to just know what your risk management policies are. And if they're likely to qualify, I want you to include an umbrella in the plan today. This is also bundling. But we're running out of time. I'm not going to talk about that more. Quoting all the lines, super, super, super important that we do it now. We must bundle 90 to 95% of the time. Now, you might say, JP, I'm in Florida. I'm happy if we can bundle 70% or 65%. Okay, that's cool. That's fair. I understand. But y'all, bundling should not be an option. And agency owners out there, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to not allow monoline business without your permission. Or if you have a sales manager or operations manager, their permission. Often our team members will just give up so easy and they just take the low hanging fruit. They forget about the rest of the tree. They might not understand that you get paid a lot less potentially. Well, not potentially. If you only write one policy instead of two, you're getting paid a lot less than you could have. That kills the return on investment for the leads and marketing that you're doing to drive in that kind of business. And your carrier might also pay you more on each policy if they're bundled, right? So they might not know that though. They might not understand how that works. They also might not understand that one policy type customers retain much lower than bundled customers, right? And retention is a huge part of your agency's growth, right? You have to have strong retention or you got to write so much more to keep growing. It's also a factor for many of your agencies on this call right now and how your carrier pays you. Renewals, whether you're elite, pro, or emerging, retention is a third of that score, man. So if your team members are writing a bunch of monoline business, if they're writing like 70% bundled or 80% bundled, we got to get them up to 90, 95% bundle. It's very important. If you have a problem with this, I would institute no more monolines without telling me first. I want to know that we at least tried to quote the other line. I want to know if we did quote it, but they didn't qualify, or if we did quote it and it's just crazy. It ain't happening. We're $4,000 more on the home, but we're able to save them some money on the auto and give them great coverages. You're all right, the 3 cars. But don't you dare, my team members, if you're on this call, don't you dare come to me and ask if you can write a monoline renters. That will probably get you fired. If you just ask me, hey, JP, can I write this? Our auto's a bit more, but they're moving to this apartment next week. No. Monoline renters are the worst policies that you could ever write. They retain terribly. They screw up our loss ratios because they have freaking claims, and a lot of them are fraudulent. and it's just not good. We get paid next to nothing on them. They're a waste of time, energy, and effort. And if you make it harder for your team to write monoline business, y'all watch how they'll start to bundle more. Team members on this call, don't be mad at JP. I'm also trying to help y'all get paid more. The more you sell, the more you'll make, and the more you'll be able to protect our customers, right? That's what it's all about. Protect your customers today as if they were going to need their policies tomorrow. And you'll make a lot more money, y'all, as your bundling producers. So don't be mad that JP said that. Now we got to close. Darn it, we only got like 15 minutes, y'all. I've been talking a lot. So let's talk about the close, then we can open up to Q&A. And I see hundreds of chats. Sorry, y'all. I'll read them later. But in a minute, we'll do this. Let's talk about the assumptive close. All right. We must seal the deal and present the final rates on each policy only after you've quoted all of them. Let me highlight that actually. Present the final rates on each policy after you've quoted all of them. Okay. Very important that you save the rates until the end. Why? If you mid-rate throughout the process on each policy piecemeal, if one is way different than they were hoping or expecting, we might lose the ability to quote the rest. What if the others were going to be much better and help offset it? So I'm just a real big believer of saving the rates until the end. Give them the rates at the end, right? Depending on how they will prefer to pay. Do they want to pay with bank draft or credit card? Do they want to pay monthly or in full? If there's a big discount and in full, y'all, I would push that hard. If there's not a huge discount on bank draft versus credit card, I would push credit card hard. Let's get you those points, cash or miles. But here's an example, top path for assumptive close that you guys can take a screenshot. And very, very, very important, y'all, make sure your team members, or if you're watching this and you're a producer, make sure that you don't put spikes in your own way. Don't be like, hey, let me email you these quotes. No, that's not how you close, y'all. You don't offer to email the quotes before they ask to have them emailed. Don't be like, so what you think? Or how's that sound? How's that sound? Would you like to proceed? Do you want to buy this today? Nope. Don't put spikes in your own road, y'all. Seal the deal and ask for the payment info. Remember, you are not paid to quote. Oh, it's down here. You are not paid to quote. You are paid to close. I'm going to make that green. I'm going to make that like a pretty dark green. Can you read that still? I don't know. You are not paid to quote. You're paid to close. Seal the deal. All right. Mrs. Customer, we're done. And I just want to thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to have helped you today with all of your insurance, your coverage, deductibles, discounts, everything that we built together is perfect. Now it's time to get these policies in place so we can get you the right protection. I recommend we go ahead and get the policy started right away, unless there's an early sign-in discount or something, like if the home is a lot less if you started a week out, or the auto, whatever. Okay, fine. I recommend that we get these policies started on whatever. Simply just need your payment info for the first month, or if you wanted to pay in full to get that discount, we can absolutely do that. If it's a big discount, y'all, if there's not a big discount, whatever, I don't really care. But if there's big discounts, leverage it. Full pay and or bank draft, if those are big discounts, definitely leverage that. Now, Mrs. Customer, I personally like to use my credit card, one that gives me cash back. That's what I love. But some of my customers like to do rewards cards like trip rewards or whatever, miles. What kind of card do you want to use? You want to use one that gives you cash back, points, or miles? What kind of card would you want to use? All right. ... You might also, especially if you have a big discount, mention that you can offer checking drafts or whatever. But what works best for you? Which card would you want to use? Not, let me email you these quotes so we can never talk again or play phone tag for the next 7 months. Or what do you think? How does that sound? Do you want to buy? Nope. We're going to get this done today. Everything that we designed together is perfect. The coverages, deductibles, and discounts, we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and get the car policy started today. The home policy will start next Friday. I'm going to help take care of helping you cancel everything. It's going to be super easy. We're going to get you some big refunds. We'll get you some big refunds on those old policies. So would you want to put this on a card that gives you a lot of cash back, points, or miles? That's what I do. Or we could do bank draft. Which works best for you? See how I basically just said this again, but in different words, just like I want your team to be able to do, right? In different words. Don't just read it word for word. However, if they do just read it word for word, they'll have a lot more success, especially if they're just quoting and hoping that they're less and emailing quotes left and right, not even asking people for the payment info. So even if they just read this, I think it'll help them with closing. But I hope that you aren't disappointed that only talked about closing for 5 minutes when the title of this webinar is Bundling and Closing Mastery. Guess what, y'all? You're going to suck at closing or your team members, sorry, that's not very professional. You will not close as well if any of this other stuff that we talked about was off. You know, the building rapport to get to know our customers, the uncovering additional lines, going through all the additional lines, saying that we're going to take care of everything today, looking out for their coverage caps and potholes. It's not just liability. It could be their roof coverage or deductible. It could be optional features like new car expanded protection, accident forgiveness, or whatever. It's all about making us better. You know, it's about liability. If you've ever heard of Joseph Puckett in training, like, this is my thing. Okay. If any of this is weak, this will be very weak. So that's why I want to spend more time on the before the close, because the close will just get easier and easier and easier, y'all, if we get better in the first part of the call. Now, you might say, JP, there's going to get lots of objections at the end, lots of roadblocks. Like, come on, not everybody's going to buy. Of course not. Wouldn't it be easy, too easy if every customer just bought? If only, smiley face. Y'all, you're going to get a lot of objections. So as I scroll down through the JPC scripts, how to start the calls, blah, blah, blah. Y'all can get this. Just email me if you want it, or members, you already have it. So I've got overcoming objections kind of framework here, and then all the most common objections. I don't have time. Can you email the quotes to me, etc.? We don't have time. We don't have time to go through all this. What's the most common real objection? Price. But typically customers will give us other stuff. You know what? I'm going to talk to my wife about this tonight. No, they're not. They're lying, y'all. They're lying, y'all. They ain't going to talk to their wife or their husband or their partner. It's just your rates are high and they don't want to say that. They're going to say, let me think about this. Can you email the quotes to me? And I'm going to think about this. I'm going to pray about this tonight. Y'all, they ain't praying. They ain't thinking. They're thinking, man, he's high. I'm not going to buy from him. He's crazy. But they're just blowing you off. They're just blowing you off by giving you a false objection. But you got to be ready for these. Some of these can be semi-valid. I just renewed. Honestly, I love that. This is the perfect timing. All right, we're going to get you a huge refund. So see, there's lots of different ways to overcome objections. The most common one, though, is price. I'll end with this, and we can go to questions for like 3 minutes. Sorry, y'all. I'm a talker. I want you and your team members to go into every conversation expecting your rates to be higher. Go into every conversation expecting your rates to be higher. What will you do to be worth it? What will you do to be worth it? So with that said, y'all, I don't know if this was good or not. I hope it was good. If it was good, let me know. Send me some feedback. This is the platform. Check out my site, josephdpuckett.com. That's it. josephdpuckett.com. That's my sales pitch done. What questions do we have? We got like 4 minutes.
I have
Gina?
2 questions from the chat. The first one is, how do we close a sale if we are asking someone to pay more for the exact same coverage?
You can't. Y'all, would you pay more for the same thing? Like if you could buy a television at Walmart for $375, or Best Buy was selling the same television for $500, you ain't going to buy it at Best Buy, right? It's the same. We can't just give them the same. What differentiates you? Is it the liability? Is it the optional features like new car expanded protection or accident forgiveness or expanded protection coverage on the roof or whatever? It's not just because we're nice. We're nice here. You can call me or text me. Who cares? Nobody cares. Look, I want y'all to be nice. I want y'all to be accessible, but that's not going to cover a $70,000 delta or difference in a claim because you only wrote $30,000 of coverage and they had a $100,000 claim. You being nice, that's awesome, cool. Sell yourself, but sell your advice, right? If you could buy the same TV from Best Buy for $500, same TV from Walmart for $375, you're going to buy it at Walmart, right? But if Best Buy throws in a free PlayStation 5, they throw in a surround sound system, they send the Geek Squad to your house to mount it up on your wall nice and neat and straight, which one's the better deal? Best Buy. Y'all, people buy what they want, the clothes that they want, the food they eat, the phone, y'all. How much money do people spend on these things? Thousands of dollars a year for a family. Right, think about it. The cost of the cell phone service, streaming services, cost of replacing the phone every 1, 2, or 3 years. Y'all, families with 3 or 4 phones, they'll spend 2 or 3 grand a year on cell phones. I think we can sell people $50 more a month on their insurance, $100 more a month on their insurance, maybe even more, but only if we're worth it. So to answer your question, how can I sell somebody the same for more? You won't. Next question.
Next,
Yeah.
how do we deal with leads who are not on the phone? You're not getting on the phone. Should you still sell them the ghost quote?
I'm not a huge fan of emailing quotes to people before we have a conversation. I would rather y'all use written communications like text messages sent compliantly. Make sure you're always being compliant with text messages, but text messages, emails, written correspondence like that. I want y'all to use those things to drive the conversation. So saying things like, so if the customer says, yeah, I want some quotes. Yeah, you got all my info, work it up and email it to me. Oh, great. That'll make this super easy. I'm almost done, but there's a couple questions I have the system doesn't know. It'll take 3 minutes. I want to make sure I get all the discounts on here. I'll call you in a minute. And then just pick up the phone and call them, y'all. Use written communication to drive a verbal conversation. You cannot build rapport back and forth via text. You absolutely cannot give it good advice and have that concern, that concern about their coverages and just let them know that we're going to take care of this today. You can't say that via text or email. So be careful getting stuck going back and forth. Man, it kills so much time too. It kills so much time going back and forth and back and forth. When you guys email the quote to them, the only thing they're looking at is the price in big bold letters or numbers. It'd be numbers, right? The price in big bold numbers. That's all they're looking at. They're not looking at the paragraphs that you wrote about how you need to increase this and you need to do this and here's what I recommend. They ain't reading that. They're not reading that, y'all. Use written to get them on the phone. That phone is your moneymaker, y'all. If I could tattoo one thing on my forehead, it would be Roll Tide. I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm not that crazy. But really, it would be pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. If there was one thing I could tattoo on my forehead, y'all, that phone is your moneymaker. You should be having 3, 4, 5 hours of talk time a day, making dozens of calls, taking calls as people are calling you back, working the leads that the agency provides. That phone is your moneymaker. Money maker. Use text and email to drive more conversations. What else? I know we got a couple more minutes. I
So
can't
we
wait to read
have
all these
some,
chats later. There's a lot.
yes, there are. I was going to say we have a couple people with raised hands who want
Yeah.
to come off mute. So please be kind to us as we try and.
Yeah. Kimberly, Isabel, Kenneth, Melissa, and y'all, I'm in no hurry. If you guys need to jump off, that's fine. But I'm good. I want to help y'all. So let's just keep rolling. Kimberly, Isabel, Kenneth, Melissa, y'all want to come online?
Yes, okay, I'm going to allow Kimberly first.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Hi, Kimberly. Did
Kimberly,
you want to talk? And maybe we can do the other ones too. Just boom, boom, boom.
we
In
can.
case, hopefully she's still listening. Kimberly, you there?
I know I'm going to
Isabella?
let Isabella next, and then we'll
Isabella
allow Kenneth.
Martinez? Kenneth Turner, my man. I love Kenneth. He's a team member at an agency in my program. He always participates in the live trainings. What y'all got? You
Mhm.
got hands raised. Did y'all want to ask a question or do you want to chat your question real quick? Kenneth, you unmuted. Wait, are they allowed to talk?
Yes, I asked them to mute, so Kenneth, you should be good.
See, I'm not seeing a mute button on them though.
Oh, he's unmuted.
Yes, I'm unmuted.
It's
This was a great Zoom.
possible
Thanks, Lee.
it's possible that his microphone isn't set up in his computer.
Yeah,
I could
or
be
it could be
wrong.
setting. That's okay. Well, I love Kenneth because he's always volunteering in my role play sessions. Kenneth, chat real quick. Melissa Hughes, Isabella Martinez, Kimberly Cunningham, chat us real quick what your questions are. And y'all, thank you so much for being here. If y'all have to jump off, I'm not rushing anybody. How can I become a team member? Lee Gamble says, well, are you working at an insurance agency right now? If you're not, I can introduce you to Gary Zana at Top Tier Recruiting. He can get you placed with an agency, toptierrecruiting.com. I love him, and he's also team hired. I love those guys too. So if you are at an agency, Lee, I don't know what you mean. You might be saying, how can I get JPC training? JosephDPuckett.com. I didn't have a question, but I can come up with one. Haha. Oh, Kenneth, you were just raising your hand to praise the Lord. I'm guessing that's cool. Tanya said, this is awesome. I appreciate it so much. What else, y'all? What questions do you guys have? What suggestion would you give to someone who runs into a lot of elderly on a fixed income? Shelby, I love that question. I'll counter it with this. Most of our customers, y'all, are on a fixed income. What do I mean? most of your customers are not like many of you on this call. If you're doing sales in an insurance agency, I assume you have the chance to make commissions or bonuses or stuff like that. Most of the people on this call can make as much money as they want, right? Most of your customers are not that. They have a salary. They might be a teacher making $42,000 a year. Isn't that crazy, y'all? Shouldn't we pay teachers like 100 grand a year or more at least? Like I wouldn't spend a whole day with the kids, like 20 kids. Like you kidding me? It might be a teacher. They might be an engineer making $120,000 a year. They might be a VP at a company making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They might be an electrician making $60,000 a year, right? Most of your customers are on a fixed income, right? A fixed income. So just be careful, thinking, well, people can't afford me because they're on a fixed income. You know what that fixed income could be? A couple social securities, a pension or two, home equity in their house, investments that they have that are paying them some dividends every month. Just because someone's older and retired and on a fixed income, y'all, they probably have a lot more to protect, like especially the equity in their home if they still own a home. The income that's coming in that's not protected, like dividends and interest and stuff like that, potential pensions, we got to protect that. I wouldn't want my older customers scrolling through the google.com trying to find an attorney to hire to represent them because I wrote a shitty policy for them that didn't cover them. And now they're going to have to find an attorney to pay $400 an hour to help them. I would want to crawl under a rock and never come up again if I wrote that policy, right? So my older customers, they need our help to protect everything they've worked their lives for, everything they worked so hard for. And just remember, most of our customers are on a fixed income. Notice how I keep saying that. But also, guys, you might have some customers that are living only on Social Security. They're bringing $1,700 a month in. They can barely pay for their rent. They can barely buy food. Y'all, they're not going to buy insurance from you. They're just not. Right? Because you represent a premium brand. Y'all, we are the Ritz-Carlton of insurance. We ain't the Motel 8. All right. We are the Birkin bag. Y'all ladies, you know what I'm talking about? We're the Birkin bag, not the Target bag. So y'all, there will be sometimes you want to help people and they literally can't afford us. That's okay. Next. You just got to move on. You got to move on to the next customer. I ain't rushing. Anybody else? What do you say to someone who says they've spoken to so many agents and answered the same questions over and over, says Stephanie. My friend, I'm so glad to see you, Stephanie. You raised your hand too. What do you say to someone who says they've spoken to so many agents and answered the same questions over and over and just rush you to kind of get to the price?
Yes.
Totally get that. Yes, girl. Now I hear you. What's up? You still with
How
Tom?
are you?
I'm good. Are you still
Good.
with Tom?
Yes, I am. Tom Briggs
Awesome.
Agency in the
Tell him I
house.
said what's up. He's a
I
great guy.
will.
We work
He's
next to
on,
him.
I think. He's still on. I
Oh,
believe he's still on.
cool. Well, I love this question, Stephanie. So, when someone says, "Oh, I'm tired of getting all these calls. I'm tired of getting all these calls. I've already talked to several people. Just give me the number." What I would say confidently is, "Okay, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, thank you for telling me that. Don't worry. I'm going to make this quick and efficient. You're going to love this. I'm going to make sure we give you the best value, the lowest possible rate for the right coverages. You're going to love this. And you know what? Just block your number from everybody else. I'm the last person you're going to talk to. You don't got to talk to nobody else. I got you. I'm going to take care of everything today. You're done. You're done shopping for insurance in about 7 minutes." So Stephanie, real quick, I just want to make sure I got all the discounts on here. Tell me more about your household. Are we married, unmarried? Who all do I need to list on the policy? Just get right to the assumptive quote. But tell them you're the last person that they got to talk to, that they can be done, they will be done shopping for insurance and get right back to the assumptive quote. What's the worst thing that can happen, Steph? They hang up, right? Because they're like, screw this. I'm tired of having the talk. Fine. X date them and move on. Next. Some will, most won't. So what? Next. That's the second thing I would tattoo on my forehead underneath, pick up the phone. Some will, most won't. So what? Next. You got to have that next mentality. And if you guys are buying a lot of internet leads, you're going to be competing with other agencies. QuoteWizard has the most amazing internet leads. We kill it with their data leads. Also love their live transfers. Agencies that I refer to QuoteWizard, amazing. But guys, there's 2 or 3 agencies involved, maybe 4 involved. Here's the good thing about new internet leads. Most agencies only work them for a couple days. What a freaking waste of money. They'll only call them 3 or 4 times, like, they didn't answer. Y'all, work your leads for at least 2 or 3 weeks, and then X date them 5 months out, hit them again where nobody's working them, right? Nobody's working them. So that would be my advice, Stephanie. If you can't get them to agree now, X-date them and work them later when they're not going to be getting hounded by 3 or 4 agencies, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. I'm new in the field, just started. I would like to know what you would like to tell your past self when you were starting in the field, Gabby. Well, I started with Allstate at 24 years old. And I just turned 40, y'all. I'm getting old, y'all. I got lots of grays, man. My son the other day was like, Daddy, why is your beard so gray? I said, be quiet, Grayson. Be quiet talking about my gray beard. But I've been in the insurance industry for 16 years, financial services industry for 19 years, started at 21 at Regions Bank in Alabama. I wish I could go back in time and tell myself that I have much greater potential than I think. That if I just work a little bit harder, do a little bit more activity on phone calls, asking for referrals, developing COIs, get a little bit better at the process, I could have fast tracked my development a lot more and put me way further ahead of where I was in my second, third, or fourth year. Just believing in myself, knowing that I can help customers, knowing that I'm a licensed professional at a great agency that's investing in me with great training and development, hopefully with something like a JPC or there's other programs. So I'm learning, I'm growing every day. Be confident knowing that you can help people. Lack of confidence for newbies is bad. Like, it's bad. So believe that you can help everybody, but don't think I got to be perfect or I got to know everything. No, hopefully you have a teammate that you can work with and learn stuff as they come up, or an agency manager, sales manager, agency owner. Great training. There's resources for great training online, but being more confident and doing just a bit more it's like an investment return. Imagine if you invested in something that only made 4% a year. It'll make a lot of money as time goes on, but you invest in something that'll make 11% a year, you'll have 5 times the returns 15 years from now, if that makes sense. So do more, get better, believe in yourself, and be confident. Know that you can help everybody, but that you're going to be learning a lot these next few months. And few years, y'all, things change. I've been doing this for 16 years. I'm always learning something new. Things change. Systems change, policies change, optional features change, processes change, like with how claims are done or sales are done. Man, I'm constantly learning. I've been doing this for 16 years. That's why I got all the grades. Y'all, 16 years in insurance is like 64 years. What else? Are we done? Do we need to go, girls? I bet y'all got stuff to do.
I was going to say, I think if you have time, we have one more question.
I'm good.
Okay.
I love this. I can go all night.
Okay. And I was like, and then, yeah. And thank you so much for everyone still listening. Melissa wants to know, what should you say when a customer hesitating to give you their social security number to quote?
I gotcha. So if you have to have the full social security number to quote with your carrier, that's just part of the deal. Just like you have to have their birthday, you have to have their date of birth. Sometimes it's how you ask. If you're like, hey, I have to get your social security number. I know you probably don't want to give it to me because like you might think I'm going to steal your identity. Nope. Hey, what's your social? Just like you say, what's your birthday? What's your address? Oh, how long you lived there? 5 years now. Do you own or do you rent? Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations. I bet you built up a lot of home equity. We're going to take care of that today. Amazing. So I've got your birthday, I've got your address and your social. Like, just say it. Just say it confidently and they'll tell it to you more often than not. But if they say, I'm not comfortable giving that out. Oh, Mrs. Customer, I understand that. But for me to give you the best, most accurate rates, actually any rates and information, it's just to verify your identity, make sure that we've got all of your information correct. So yeah, it's just part of the process, just like your cell phone company has, your insurance company, but this is secure, saved. I won't ever see this number again. I just got to type it in to verify your identity. So that social is, just ask. I ain't giving it to you. Okay, sorry, I can't help you. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Next. Next. That's the third thing I tattoo like right here because it's a short word. Next. Y'all, some will, most won't. So what? Next. Don't stress. Stay positive. You're going to get a lot of no's, y'all. You're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. If you step up to the plate more and swing, you're going to strike out a lot more, all right, than you hit the ball. But the more no's you get, the more yeses you'll get too. Every no gets you closer to another no and another no, maybe one more no, then a yes. This is a contact sport, y'all. The more people you contact, the more people you'll quote, the more people you'll write. This business is not hard. It's a contact sport. Now, if you also get better at how you start the call to generate more quotes, if you get better at how you uncover additional lines to bundle, if you get better at your assumptive close, if you get better at asking for referrals, if you just get better and do more, shoot, your numbers will be through the roof, team members, through the roof. Well, I think that's it, y'all. Sorry we went a little bit over. If you have questions, feel free to email me. It's email@josephDpuckett.com or check out josephDpuckett.com or also josephpuckett.com. I had to buy that from somebody, man. They charged me $1,000. Somebody bought my damn domain. So josephpuckett.com or josephDpuckett.com. Check me out if I can help you and your team. I'd love it. Ladies, thank y'all for the invitation today. I hope it was beneficial.